Hello and welcome to episode 45 of my Endwalker playthrough, and I've just realised I cannot see OBS, so I can't guarantee I'm recording. Good, there we go. Decided to record one more before we had tea, get an hour's more in, and then have a prolonged tea, I think. Get one more episode in after that, and then see if we can finish off tomorrow? Maybe? We might be going to this weekend. We may not be able to reach it on Friday. We may have to finish on Saturday. We shall see. But let us continue. We have people to talk to, places to be, a world to save. No choice but to march onwards, lest we squander their noble sacrifice. To feign bravery with bold words is a simple matter, but without the strength the strength of will to match, we are powerless against Dynamis. Naught less than unshakable conviction will suffice, which makes me question if I am up to the task. Though it pains me to say, we can ill afford to stop and grieve our comrades passing. No, there will be time enough. There'll be time enough after. We have to keep going, even if Estinian isn't here to see it. I'm sure Alphino wouldn't want to disappoint him. Alphino has regained his composure and is ready to proceed. As Justola and as Alize said, we must continue. Notice the change in our surroundings. Perhaps this is the memory of an altogether different world. It would be prudent to learn of it then. Tread carefully, lest we lose our footing in the sand. The fact the sand goes off like that, I love that little detail. It is the tiniest of details, but still. What is this place? If you were worried about my vision, you needn't be. I can still see quite well. Another seemingly barren world. For Mercy, the air is nowhere near as stale, but it is still quite dry, and the sand will no doubt prove bothersome in due time. If not for the light emitted by these glyphs, we might have overlooked this monolith. Sand. Sand everywhere. Were it not for the violet crystal embedded in this surface, it would appear an ordinary stone. A curious script hath been etched upon it. Alas, it is not a language with which I am familiar. I cannot say I recognize it either. Nor I. The dragons, from what I recall, preserved their knowledge in song and eschewed the written word entirely. So we may assume that this work is of another race. One we have yet to encounter. Meteon claims the dragon's world suffered a slow death, seeking the release of oblivion. What life we find here, like as not, doth wend its way towards a similar end. What do you suppose is over there? This thing? Question, what is that thing? I'm not sure, it's hard to make out at this distance, but the surface seems to bear the same crystal as this monument. Meaning there's a chance we may find whoever built both. We should go and have a look. Come on. Need to be on the lookout for fates. Oh, I see it up there. Curious. Other one. Oh, come on. Leave me be. I said and did nothing. I can't get experience from you. You are not worth my time. Okay, let's have a look. I imagine it is a full complement. Yeah, we're looking for a full complement of aether currents and whatnots. Up. Up. Ghostly figure. Hail, travellers! This is a most unexpected occurrence. Hello there. Is this your home? Indeed it is. Ah, forgive me. I had forgotten. In an exchange of introductions is expected when first meeting those with whom one is unacquainted. That was a little unsettling. When the vibrations of vocal folds was still required to converse our thoughts and intentions, ear, I believe, was the pronunciation used when referring to our people. Though it is not entirely acceptable given our present state, you are welcome to use this application. As for the nomenclature, to address my individual person, I believe it would be pronounced Kofa Kudag. Yes, Kofa Kudag at the E. We have encountered beings that communicate intimately through thought, but never one that is wholly without a voice. I presume we are having this conversation via the medium of ether, or dynamis, as this space is sufficient with vast quantities of it. Fascinating in either case. I gather your response to my presence is positive, then. That is well, for there's something I wish to ask you. Like yourself, we are ether-based life forms. Therefore, it may be surmised that your bodies are comparable biological compositions to those we once possessed. I have a number of queries regarding your subjective perspective or perception of the five senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. In total, I have prepared 198,712,180,827. That's rather a lot, isn't it? Ah, my apologies. I omitted a great many details necessary to understand the nature of my request. Though we dispersed with our corporeal vessels long ago, we have rediscovered the need for flesh, and have endeavoured to recreate our erstwhile forms. However, all pertinent records have been lost due to the passage of time. Take, for example, the nervous system. It is well within our power to recreate, but we do not have a frame of reference for sensations once experienced by our people, which may compromise our ability to interact with our physical environment. And the reason you need to regain corporeal forms? Why, to bring an end to our existence, of course. Though need is perhaps too strong a word. It would simply be a matter of unmaking ourselves through the use of etheric extinguishing. But such a death seems inadequate. The traditionalists among us believe proper death requires an inescapable sense of impediment in one's final moment, an experience found only with a body of flesh. We should very much like to hear more of your plan. In exchange, will you answer any questions you have to the best of our ability? Such exchange of information would indeed prove useful. Very well. To ensure an efficacious exchange, I hereby invite you to our home. Yes, the abode of the E, where we traditionalists prepare for our demise. I presume your consent to answer questions is indicative of a tactile approval of our plan. In which case, your cooperation is greatly appreciated. Or a tacit approval of our plan. I must caution you, however, be mindful of the E wandering the desert. Their desires for bodies of flesh could be described as overzealous. Now, if you would follow me. This is going rather smoothly. Not that I'm complaining, mind. Even so, we mustn't forget that their aim is oblivion, much like the dragons. Though I fail to see why a civilization so seemingly advanced would choose to unmake all they have created. At any rate, we'll find no answers dawdling here. Let us be on our way. Incidentally, but entirely irrelevant to current circumstances, the call from earlier was actually from my property conveyancing team. Basically, my house is being sold, or I am selling my house. Let's use the right vernacular. I am selling my house, so it's been up for sale. It's sold. It's gone over to the conveyancing team. I've gone with the conveyancing team that the estate agencies use, and basically it was a cold call saying, "Hey, are you going to buy a house as well? Can we do the conveyancing for that?" Which is probably why it came up as suspicious and potentially spam. Also, the fact that the number doesn't appear to be recognised anywhere online or anything rendered it suspicious. But it seems like it was an innocuous cold call, just fishing for more business, basically, from someone I am already doing business with. Which I don't know if I find that more galling than just a straight-up cold call. They said that you would be. They said there would be others, but I don't know what I was expecting. I don't see any others. Are these the others? Something tells me we have different definitions of the word abode. The island of Dragon was shrouded in silence of death, yet the stillness here does suggest the E are, by and large, merely sleeping. More violet-coloured crystals. I cannot place my finger on it, but there is something unsettling about them. I should not be surprised their concept of village is so different from ours, and yet... Welcome to our abode. Most of our compeers, you will find, remain idle in their domiciles, though your quizzical expression indicates my phrasing is unclear. I speak, of course, of the violet crystalline structures hanging from the stone structures there. You say they remain idle, but what of your work to regain corporeal bodies? An astute question, and understandable. given your finite nature. We have no desire to pursue our research, for it is no longer necessary. If, in our idleness, we are struck by sudden inspiration, we rise to pursue said inspiration to its conclusion, and then that is why I was present for your arrival, and why I continue to engage with you still. But while others are not currently in motile states, rest assured they would not object were you to disturb their respite. You need only cast your thought towards one of the crystalline domiciles to communicate. Let's head over to the Ep45 first, and then we'll come back. Aether current is somewhere over here as well. Not that I can see it in a minute. Said it was north. Doesn't appear to be in here, which must mean it's just beyond here. Northwest. Oh, giant pond. There it is. Giant pond with a massive hole in the middle of it. That makes me wonder. One sec, let me just experiment with something. Can we go down? It does not like it. I thought it was shift space. Is it control space? Nah. Either way, if you look down and swim, it should take you that way. Well, that should work to take you. Is it not strange they lack passion to research that which they desire above all else? If we are fortunate, the E residing in these crystals shall shed light in this contradiction. Words. Good lord. More words. Words are horrible. Why can't we all communicate with emotions? That'll be even worse. I don't want to know what other people are feeling. It'll just be constant rage. And I'll be giving constant cynical airs of how... or constant airs of cynicism off. Of how tired I am. Of the bullshit of the world. I've tried reaching out to whether it's inside to whatever is inside its crystal, but all I can hear is sporadic moaning. You cast your thoughts toward the crystalline domicile, but there's no response. Is he the last one alive? You wish to speak? Very well. Pray, a moment, if you would. Why we seek our end, you ask? If you wish to know, I will tell you. Just a moment, I must remember. What form did I take when last I emerged? The strange moaning comes and goes, but soon fades into silence. They've achieved immortality. This is the race that achieved immortality. If I heard correctly, the E in the crystals says it would emerge from within shortly. Do you suppose they all appear as Kofa Kokuda does. Kofa Kuda does. Did your inquiries yield satisfactory responses? I see. If they failed to answer, then it is likely because their minds have unravelled due to prolonged idleness. They are naught but concentrated ether now. Worry not. There are no others who have need of these lodgings, and they would not provide a hindrance to remain as they are. But more importantly, you said some few did answer your request for an audience, yes? I imagine they will be with us ere long. Kofa Kudig languishly awaits his brethren's arrival. I've had no luck with everyone else, but everyone else fared well enough. Quite a few EE have awakened. Ah, there they are. May I introduce you Lalaki, Dudeki, and Ninigi. It has been too long, Kukudi. I dare say Sarid 4 has since completed an orbit. Indeed, until the travellers brought it to my attention, I hadn't noticed how unravelled some had become. Travellers? Ah, of course. The ones who wish to know why we seek to regain our corporeal forms. The truth of the matter is as plain to see as the neighbouring systems. But my single account would fail to satisfy the requirements for scientific objectivity. Thus I did bid them awaken you. Am I the only one struggling to tell who is speaking? Nay, they are not. In the absence of their corporeal forms, and divergence they are afforded, mayhaps such similarities in voice is unavoidable. By the way, Kukudi, have you already observed the recreous custom for the travellers? That which one is expected to do when receiving guests, a matter of proper form. Ah yes, so long has it been, it completely escaped my mind, and it still does. What was it again? I can't seem to remember. Neither do I. Pity, I was hoping you would. Perhaps we can search the archives for the answer. Come now, Ninigi. The archives have long been frozen. Least we subject ourselves to further Dodola. Surely you recall that much. Ah, of course. Food. The custom is to serve food. Beings of flesh, such as they, must regularly replenish their aether. By contributing to their replenishment, we communicate our friendly intentions. That's right. We duly invite you to join us in communal respite, after which we may engage in leisurely conversation. If we have had a chance to learn something, then I see no reason to decline. Excellent. Would you care to follow? We shall feast your pure. We shall feast. We shall feast you on the purest aether. They're going to cut out all that nasty, wasteful business of food and just feed us energy itself. I think I can see what's going to happen here. To think that I had forgotten what had become of the other archivists. How much my essence has deteriorated since last I was awake. Not that I am adverse to having my mind fade away in this manner. It isn't so unlike the natural degradations of one's flesh. How delightful. Throughout the universe, but few races have completely shed their flesh, as we have. As a result, we seldom receive visitors from other systems. Extreme differences can inhabit meaningful interactions, you see, and none more so than those which affect communication. Most entities, for example, cannot even comprehend our words. You are rare indeed in your ability to do so. You avail yourself of dynamis, yes? This is an impressive application, even if it is ultimately pointless like all the rest. How much aether would be adequate for your kind, I wonder? As I recall, there is a fine line between optimal saturation and violent sickness. This facility is where we replenish our aether. There's no particular name for it, but we traditionally sometimes use the word restaurant. Now then, if you would take your place with your comrades in the space, we will soon awash you with the purest ether. Please absorb as much as you like. Look at the people entirely skipping all the cut screens and not even talking to the extra people. We were told to stand wherever we liked. This strikes me as less of a meal and more of a ritual. Judging by the construction of this facility, it would seem the E directly draw upon ether. Ether, they say, but I cannot help but feel a bit nervous. If they are thus able to replenish their ether, the loss of vital sensation or sustenance isn't like to be the cause of their demise. If it is as I suspect, then this so-called feast... Actually, let's see it for ourselves. Fear not, we are not like to come to harm. You brace yourself for a rush of sweat or sweet, sweet ether, but nothing seems to happen. Perhaps you need to wait a little longer. Flesh Abandoned is the name of this, but it's written in such a weird way. I wonder... I should check back and see. Hang on, let me go journal. I can't open it in a minute. I was wondering what the Dragon Quest were phrased as. You brace yourself again, but again, nothing seems to happen. Just as I suspected, as meticulously as one might recreate his home world, this Ultimathul, one cannot simply generate ether here. As recreations, our friends are oblivious to this fact. To the very truth of their existence, much like the phantoms of the recreated Amarot. However, appearances may seem, we must be ever mindful that it's a memory of the dead with whom we deal. We're going to lose your stolen on this island, aren't we? So, did you have your fill of ether? Alas, we couldn't absorb it. A deficiency in our forms, it would seem. Oh, how unfortunate. May I ask how you normally replenish your ether? Through your mouths, you say? How very primitive and quaint. To think that their mouths serves not only to expel sound, but to draw in sustenance beside. Such life forms have long since vanished from our system. Though we regrettably could not partake in your magnificent feast, rest assured we feel your welcome most keenly. In the course of our acquaintance in ourselves with your sophisticated ways, however, we could not fail but wonder, wherefore do you wish to obtain vessels of flesh, and thence to vanish? Will you not favour us with an explanation? You flesh and blood beings are always so hasty. It does have a charm, however. Very well, we shall indulge you. In the beginning, when the yet possessed corporeal bodies, our ancestors dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement. By transcending all limitations, we believed we could eliminate sorrow and abide in true happiness. From the tangible, such as the land, to the intangible, such as labour, there exists a myriad hindrances to progress. But most confining of all was the flesh itself. Our natural lifespan was distressingly meddling, you see, too short to enjoy unhurried lives, yet too long to be considered disposable. Furthermore, to simply maintain the integrity of our bodies demanded considerable resources. But we managed to solve this problem. After long years, we discovered how to become non-corporeal entities with everlasting lives, untroubled by the failures of the flesh. Thus changed, we had more time and freedom to continue our scientific pursuits. We went on to make ever greater strides in our quest to transcend all limitations, until we finally decided to challenge the last of them all, the limit of knowledge. That is to say, deciphering the laws of creation. We sought to discover how the universe came into being and explain all extent phenomena, and thence predict the future. If we could but achieve this, we believed that we would be free from uncertainty and anxiety. And did you find the answers you sought? Yes, we did. Our efforts revealed to us the fundamental truth. Knowledge of said truth is essential for the continuation of our conversation. If you would learn more, we will share it with you. No, we mustn't. Primitive as they are, it would be unspeakably cruel to deprive them of their ignorance. They are possessed of corporeal forms, and their lives readily ended. As those who have gone before, is it not our duty to warn them? What thinkest thou? We have deliberated and come to a consensus. If you are resolved to know, we will disclose to you the truth we discovered, the truth of the universe. Seek us at the stone pillars just outside the bounds of the abode, a place called Elegia. Elegia. Are we going to get more than a ... out of your stroller? Apparently, yes. To defy the laws of creation would have been no small feat. Define, even for the ear, Nay, having eternal lives and hence no sense of haste would only have made it harder. Such tremendous drive for knowledge they once must have had, and I struggle to reconcile with it with the listless beings before us. Whatever answer they found, it did not bring them happiness. Like her master, your stola seeketh the truth of creation. How would the truth of the ear, who uncovered all only the desire, who uncovered all only to desire the end, fall upon her ears? You may be intimately familiar with the problem, know it like the back of your hand, yet to be powerless to solve it. In the course of my struggles, I've often been made keenly aware of this fact. I wonder, have the ear never felt the same frustration? 'Tis true that a lack of knowledge can beget fear. Therefore, in theory, by acquiring all knowledge, it may be possible to attain peace. But as Heidelin told us, all those people who attempted to free their world from lives of woe met with failure, and the E are among them, as their presence here attests. The tale we are about to hear will not be a happy one. A fundamental truth. We will hear it, of course. Let us learn what has led to such an enlightened people to their indolent end. Before we hear the climax of the E's tale, mayhaps I should speak of... On second thought, it would only be a distraction. We will talk more when the time is right. Something seems to be weighing on Urianje's mind. Ere we join the E, there is one trifling matter I would fain investigate. Nathan, Grahat here, might I trouble you for your assistance? But of course. My thanks. We shall head outside the abode, if you would kindly follow me. I know not what mischief you are plotting, Urianje, but I trust you have our best interests at heart. The rest of us will go on ahead to the Elgia. Yeah, least you worry. We won't start without you. I need to wet my whistle once more. Oh, we're going a long way. We'll see when we get there. We have arrived. You may notice that I've come from a different direction because I went to a fate and then I went to Gavanafa Current. A spring, a sizable one at that. I hadn't noticed it amidst the dunes. Aye, this place shall serve. Is it the spring you wish to investigate? Pray, forgive me, my friend. There is naught to investigate. 'Twas but a pretense to speak to you or speak in private. You have our undivided attention. As we have established here in Umathul, those denizens of the ruined stars are recreated in their twilight days. Yet one question does arise in my mind. So faithfully formed are the simulacrums, they believe themselves yet among the living. How dost thou suppose this is possible? Creation magics. Meeting has taken their heart into herself. Meteon make contact with them while they still lived? Possibly. Of course, she must have visited the stars of the dragons and the Ii before either race perished in their entirety. Thus she could make their emotions her own, and with them create more faithful simulacrum than she could rely on a historical account. So too did I theorize, and, upon that assumption, considered how these two races might have met their demise. According to thine own tale, Meteon perceived the emotions of those nearby as her own. A heightened sense of empathy intrinsic to her nature as an entelechy. In the course of her starfaring journey, she encountered beings who strongly desired the cessation of their existence. She would be powerless before that desire. Even as she possesses the power to grant it, the power of Dynamis, 'tis my supposition that, overwhelmed by their longing for death, Meteon did unleash Dynamis and usher the dragons and Ea unto their doom. Of course, such was not always the outcome. Many stars did she find already lost to ruin. In order to create a terminus, however, the fervent desire for its end is essential. Therefore, should you struggle to find a way forward, pray ask yourself this: in this place where you stand, who is the soul that yearneth most and desperately for oblivion? Meteon. Why do you tell us this now? Near or never again would I betray your trust. I'm not sure. No, yeah, it's no again would I betray your trust. This pledge I did make to my comrades in bringing thee into my confidence. I would remain true to my words. As for thee, let us consider it my fixing. Let me consider it my fixing reward for the secrets I harboured for the Crystal Exarch. I once placed my faith in thy chosen path, walking at thy side, full knowing that we were bound for thy demise. I ask now that thou returnest the favour, and abide in faith as I fulfil mine own destiny. If you say my debt has come due, how am I to refuse? Tis indelicate of me, I know full well that I cannot beg thy forgiveness. Yet even if I must needs go to such lengths, I cannot well feign ignorance of the answer I have found within. The answer to the question, in what moment might I stand strongest? After all that we've been through, I will say only this. Do what you must. Do what you must and see your conviction through. I shall, my friend. I shall. Without further ado, let us go on to our comrades. He's the one that's planning to die. Oh. ... let us be off to Elgia. Okay, let's try that again. Let's just double check. Yeah. Third time's the charm. We have 6 more ether cones to find. I wonder, everything is timing itself way too well. Don't mind me. Come, let us hear E's tale and learn what caused such enlightened beings to crave nihility. While we waited, we mentioned our star's situation to Ea. They nodded sagely, or something to that effect. I understand you've taken care of business. If you are ready to begin, then so are we. Your companion in front, the one called Justola. She seems keenest to learn the truth. I pity her. It would seem your star, too, has been plunged into panic-induced cataclysm. I hope that our tale will not serve to exasperate it. We have prepared for our recounting. To facilitate comprehension, the information will be simplified to match your primitive minds. Oh, you are here. Your comrades said you would be late. It seems everyone is accounted for. Shall we then?
Please continue. Tell us about this truth you discovered.
Very well. Bear in mind, however, that the purpose of this conversation is not to impart scholarly knowledge, for such requires that you comprehend the subject matter, which you will not. We will forego the intricacies of our scientific methodology and deal only with the conclusion, the end of our society and our world. We acknowledge, with regret, that your star is in the midst of the same panic-induced cataclysm that befell Ep45. As such, in order to avoid causing undue distress, we will refrain from explicitly stating how much time you have remaining.
You are entirely too kind. I pray you recount your tale as you see fit.
In the beginning, the universe was but a tiny particle. Then suddenly, this particle began to expand. Having remained entirely in the bounds of your star, the phenomenon may be difficult for your kind to grasp. But this expansion has since continued unabated. Speculating that the universe could not grow indefinitely, we sought to learn what might occur, and made a worrying discovery. The stars will continue to spread apart, as will their finite thermal energies. Eventually, all heavenly bodies will grow cold and freeze. No new stars will be born, and the universe will enter into an eternal ice age.
The heat death of the universe.
In hopes of proving that this determination was erroneous, we scrutinized our research from all angles, even as we sought to avert the everlasting winter. The endeavor proved fruitless. So infamously so, in fact, that it became synonymous with vain effort. The universe as we know it would end, and there is no way to prevent it. Beneath the weight of this knowledge, our society stagnated. Though we had time still, it was a cold comfort. Why strive for anything when desolation is assured? When our wealth of wisdom, accumulated since the dawning of our kind, would be forever lost. No civilization would rise from our ashes. No scholar recover our knowledge. In silence unbroken, naught would stir. Intellect was once our pride. Overnight, it became our shame. Our works, monuments to futility. Immortality, our greatest invention, became a source of suffering. Rather than suffer on, many chose to unmake themselves by means of etheric exsanguinators.
That is a hell of a word.
Etched upon these stones are the testaments of such souls. Though many left no words at all, thinking it a pointless gesture. Once we have obtained vessels of flesh, we likewise intend to vanish. If you understand this, understand aught of our tale, you will abandon your quest for knowledge. Ignorance truly is bliss. If you would cling to your illusory happiness, remain primitive and pure. It is the only way.
So that's your story. While I appreciate your advice, I will not heed it.
Of course she wouldn't.
Convinced though you may be of this truth, it is yours and not mine. Indeed, truth, I have ever believed, is in the eye of the beholder.
Are you suggesting that we have reached a faulty conclusion? That our science failed us?
Hardly. As you yourself said, the subject matter is beyond my comprehension. And that, I accept, is true. I do not possess the knowledge to prove or disprove your conclusion. In my mortal years, I doubt I could even approach the wisdom of the air. But of one thing am I absolutely certain. I would not be happier in ignorance.
Y'shtola, no! You mustn't!
The most important lesson I've learned is that learning isn't simply passing one's eyes over words. Nay, 'tis when understood for oneself that knowledge attains its true value. This is what has sustained me, driven me onward in joy and wonder, in anger and sorrow. The universe may end, and all may be for naught, but I will live as I always have. I will always seek out new knowledge, and no conclusion of yours, no matter how grim, can dampen my desire.
I suppose it is only to be expected. Their feeble minds cannot fathom the terrifying gravity of it all. But worry not. We consider it our duty to enlighten you. And we will not stop until you grasp the full extent of our despair.
Once again, the bird. It's a swallow, isn't it?
Keep calm and listen well. Though my body will soon dissipate, there may be a way to restore it. Asm's magic. So long as our souls remain, you can use it to summon us back. But you mustn't, for it would mean losing our way forward. This I only reveal so that you can promise not to invoke the magic.
I'm going to invoke the magic, but I'm going to invoke the magic when it is the proper time to invoke the magic.
We came here knowing what victory may cost, so press on. Press on, and do not look back.
I shall join thee. As subterfuge is not required, thou shalt not suffer for mine absence.
Riange.
My resolve hath never been as strong as thine. Full oft have I wavered in my decisions, and afterwards been stricken with regret. In spite of this, I may still stand with my comrades, supporting them as they attempt the greatest of feats. This truth I have learned in the course of our journey. And many though my shortcomings may be, I may also claim to excel in prophecies. My studies, into which have granted me the flexibility of mind needed to bend this malleable reality. Thus shall I hope that thou mayest have the strength to resist, and our comrades the strength to continue.
With you to urge us on, how could we possibly fail?
How did we know?
What's this? An extinguished civilization. Rekindled.
That's right. Our quest doesn't end here. We'll press on, and we will find you.
There. That's where you'll find me.
Is that another star?
Of the stars we visited, most were already devoid of life. And where there was life still, the inhabitants wished for death. But even death, we learned, isn't truly the end. It is but a part of the cycle of rebirth. Souls return to the star, or in its absence, a larger flow. And eventually they are reborn. Alive again, to know suffering anew. True salvation lies not in dying. It lies in not being born. This is the gift I would give to you. To all life on beautiful Etheris. To that end, we created an egg wherein life cannot quicken. That dead sun. Attain it if you can, before your friend's emotions fade away, along with their protection.
So we are down to a light party of people. A perfect ensemble to be able to cover all roles. Someone who can cover all roles, a DPS, and a healer. But we are a little too soon to be delving into a dungeon. Never have I felt such emptiness, as if part of me is gone. I'm fine, Nathan. Like I said, our quest doesn't end here. Well, we shall call it there for today, and I shall have a break, have my tea, watch some YouTube, do a bunch of other stuff, and I will record one more episode later. Maybe two, maybe one, I don't know. We'll find out how I feel after I've had my extended break. Anyway, thanks again for watching, hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully I will see you next time. Cheerio!